Then you have little Graham Henry, played by Jack Gore, who's 8 years old, and his whole life, his dad had Parkinson's. So he knows nothing else but his dad having Parkinson's. So he's actually the purest of them all. He thinks this is normal, nothing bothers him. And he's the guy that can ask the questions that kind of America's all asking about. How does the medication work? What's going to happen? But he's also, it doesn't matter if Mike is struggling to open a pickle jar, Jack will just, Graham will just take it and help him, because to him that's just what dad has. Then you have Mike Henry's sister, Lee, played by Katie Finneran, who's kind of a kept woman. Mike kind of takes care of her because she's kind of rudderless in the world. She tries different jobs all the time. She lives in an apartment that Mike pays for. And yet her and Annie kind of have this great friendship, which kind of bothers Mike sometimes, because Annie's a very driven woman and Katie's kind of doesn't know, Lee doesn't know what's happening. So there's that whole dynamic that kind of works at home. The greatest thing about Mike is nothing is off limits. He wants to go right for it. A lot of stuff we're doing in the show is on paper is crazy, but because Mike is doing it and wants to do it, it's the fact that he's playing up what he had and he's being very honest about it is incredible. I mean, he's Michael J. Fox. I know everyone thinks he's a great guy. He's 10 times the guy you think he is. He's a great actor and an even better man, and nothing is off limits. The only thing we want to make sure of in the show is that Mike's very careful about talking about the medication. He's very honest about where it is. He doesn't want to sugarcoat anything. So he just wants to give a real honest portrayal of where he is right now. We spend a lot of time in this show developing the family, because we know we have Michael J. Fox and we know everyone wants to come to see him. We know how terrific and fantastic and comedically genius he is. We spend a lot of time creating a family that at the end of the day looks like you, looks like me, looks like everybody else, and has the exact same problems. So the stories we're going to tell are not Michael J. Fox has a disease stories. We're telling family stories. We're telling Mike at work stories. We're telling the wife at work stories. We're telling the kids at high school stories. We're telling family stories, life stories that happen to have the extra added element that, oh yeah, the dad's going through something. So we want you to laugh. We want you to, at the end of the day, we want you to feel something emotionally, but we want you to feel that about the family. And I'm pretty confident that it's going to be a really fun show. We had meetings with all the different networks. We had a favorite going into our meetings, which I'll tell you now was NBC. Mike did have a big sense of going home, as did I. I mean, NBC, when I grew up, that was the place you went for comedies and for emotional comedies, for Cosby Show, for Family Ties, for things that were both funny and also about something. It looks different, it's shot different, it's the scope is bigger, yet the stories are smaller. So it's not going to feel like anything people have seen on network television before, but I think that's okay, because the way I always talk about it is we owe that to Michael J. Fox. We owe a really good environment. We owe a shiny, top-notch feel to him because of who he is.